Hi everybody, my name is Reagan Barrett, and today we're going to talk about the case from 1993 from England, from the UK. And we're going to start off with, are you happy with where you are right now in life? Are you happy you're able to attend college? Well, this little boy never got that chance. Today we're going to talk about the murder of James Bulger. We're going to go through the case history, the trial, and the impacts. On the left, we have the picture of three boys. On the far left, we have John Venables. And on the far right of the left side of the presentation, we have Robert Thompson. In the middle, we have little James Bulger. Here, James Bulger, John Venables, and Robert Thompson. On the right, we will get to when we get further into it. So, John Venables and Robert Thompson were 10 and a half years old, and they took little James Bulger from his mom when they were on a random day in 1993, and they went shopping. They went to buy something. His mom let go of his hand for a mere second, and he was gone. He was taken by John Venables and Robert Thompson, and they took him from New Strand Shopping Center, took a 2.5-mile walk to where it says Killing of JB. That was the railroad track, and on a railroad station, closer to the police station, but they weren't caught for some reason early enough. And they took him there, they tortured him, and they murdered him. According to the Independent, the two 10-and-a-half-year-olds took little James Bulger to a railroad track. They splashed blue paint in his eyes, blinding him, beat him to death. They gave him 42 injuries in total, and they left him on the railroad track where a passing train passed the body, severing it in half. He was discovered 2 to 3 days later by a couple of kids. Next, we're going to talk about weapons and injuries. On the left side, we have what is known as a railroad fish plate, and it connects the railroad track together. In this context, it was a 22-pound railroad fish plate that was dropped on James's head. It hit his right skull, and it crushed his right skull and collapsed it. On the right side, we see types of skull fractures. He had at least 10. His body was also battered and bruised from being kicked at, thrown rocks at, and thrown bricks at. His mouth had batteries stuffed in, and his eyes were blind from the paint. In this slide, we see the after events from the murder. When his body was discovered and reported to the police, his body was being covered by a yellow tent. He has a very small body. He was 2 years old, about to turn 3. As we know, 2-year-olds don't have a very big body, and because there was not much of him left, his body was covered, and no such pictures were ever quite released. For evidence that connected the murderers to James' body was the CCTV cameras we see in this left side picture, and there was also 38 witnesses who claimed to see him when they took him from the shopping mall and were walking to the railroad track. The suspects, now proclaimed murderers, had matching blue paint on their clothes that matched to the victim as well. In this one, we see the picture of a trial. This is the boys, Robert Thompson and John Venables. They stood trial at the age of 11, and due to their charges, what they were charged with, their sentence changed from 8 to 10 to 15 to 8. They were sent to prison. Their prison times varied because the judges kept changing, and because the shock was so great from the case, their influences biased their decisions, and because it was biased, some people questioned whether it was fair or not fair of a trial. Once they were both released, when they finished their prison times, they were around the age of 18, correction, sorry. They were given new identities, and only one of them reoffended again. According to the Guardian, the article John Vanderbilt's charge over child abuse image allegations, he had an offense for cocaine possession and one for drunken brawl. But the one that sent him back to prison was having possession over child abuse photos and child pornography photos. And to this day, he is still in prison. The impact. So in the middle, we have a picture of James Bulger's tombstone, and it's visited often by many people. And according to The Guardian, there's an article called "The Wounds Don't Ever Heal, 30 Years After James Bulger's Murder, Boodle Cannot Forget." We can tell that it has a lasting impact on the public. They're always reminded of what happened, and James' family, we can see in this photo and in this, in the two articles in this slide, we see that James' family continues to make sure Vanderbilt never gets released. They don't want his killer to walk free. And the second one, it just proves that even though Vanderbilt was released, he did not do anything that was good afterwards. He had more offenses that came along with it. So, James's mother, Denise Fergus, continues to fight it, and according to the BBC, John Vanderbilt's parole failed because he was deemed a threat to the public. In this case, also attacked the stereotype that kids were innocent and incapable of crime. There's a law in the UK, it was on the criminal laws of youth. In 1993, the lowest age for youth was changed to 10. And to conclude, this is more photos of James and his murderers, and then his mother, Denise. She wrote a book about her experience with losing James and how she dealt with it in a way. And a quote from her book to conclude this: "I don't have the energy for anger anymore, but at the end of this, there are only two people to blame in this, and that's the two who took him." And here are my sources. Thank you for listening, and I hope you had a good day. Thank you.